Hey everyone, so this is the last section of our practice quiz 4A and 4B where we're converting between fractions, decimals, and percents. So I've got a word problem here. It says, Emma went to Target to buy a Monopoly game because Target was having a sale on all games. Games were 40% off. What decimal is equivalent to this percent? So I've got 40%, and I know that that means 40 out of 100. So that would be my fraction if I reduced it. But just a reminder that if we're going to convert from a percent to a decimal, we just take the spot where we know the decimal point would be if we had one, and we move it back 2 places. And so this would be equal to 0.40. And of course, with decimal numbers, we can knock off the end zeros. So this would be 4/10. So 40% is equal to 4/10 as a decimal. All right, in the next section, you only needed to choose one of these to explain how to convert. I'm going to show you all of them. So to change a fraction into a percent, we're going to divide the numerator by the denominator, and then we'll move the decimal 2 places to the right. So I'll show you what that looks like. Let's say we had the decimal, or the fraction, 3/5. We would take our numerator 3 and divide it by our denominator 5. And just a reminder, we can use our calculators for this. So 3 divided by 5. And I get 0.6. So this equals the decimal 0.6, but we're looking for the percent. So to change from a decimal to a percent, we do the opposite of what we did up here. We move our decimal point 2 places to the right. It's like multiplying by 100 because percents are out of 100. So this would be 0.6, move that decimal point 2 places to the right, fill in with a 0, and so that would be 60%. So that's a fraction to a percent. Next one is to change a decimal to a fraction, use the decimal number as the numerator and the place value of the last digit as the denominator. Reduce if needed. So we've got a decimal, and we want to go to a fraction. So let's say we're using this 0.6, that's a decimal, and we want to go to a fraction. So I'm going to use my 0.6, my 6, as the numerator. I'm using the decimal number as the numerator. And the place value, this is 6/10. That first place after the decimal point is not the once. There is no once. It's the tenths. And so my denominator would become 10. So that's where I'm using the place value of the last digit as the denominator. And then these are both even, so for sure I can divide these by 2. So I'll divide both of them by 2, and we get 3/5 for that answer. So that's changing from a decimal to a fraction. Then my last one, percent to decimal. To change a percent to a decimal, move the decimal point to the left 2 spaces. So I'll take my example up here. I had 60%, and I want to change that to a decimal. So decimal point sitting right here, and I'm going to do the opposite of if I were changing a decimal to a percent. I'm going to move to the left instead, and so this becomes 0.6 as a decimal. All right, guys, next time I see you, we'll be taking a quiz over this information. The quiz will look a lot like this practice quiz. Let me know if you have any questions.